Have you noticed that standing up from your favourite chair takes just a little longer than it used to? Maybe climbing the stairs to your bedroom leaves you more breathless than last year, or perhaps you're gripping the handrail tighter every single time. If you're over 50, these aren't just random inconveniences, and they're definitely not things you should just accept as normal aging. What's happening in your legs at this very moment is something far more serious than most people realise, and every single day that passes without addressing it, you're losing more of the strength and independence you've worked your whole life to maintain. Your legs are weakening first, not your arms, not your back, but your legs. Medical research has shown that after age 50, your leg muscles begin disappearing at an alarming rate, up to 8% every single decade if you don't take action. Think about what that really means. The muscles that carry you through your day, that let you walk to the mailbox, climb stairs, play with your grandchildren, even just stand up to cook dinner, those muscles are silently vanishing. And here's what makes this terrifying. Most people don't even notice until they've already lost so much strength that simple daily activities become genuinely frightening. I've talked to women who told me they avoided visiting friends who lived in second-floor apartments because the stairs felt impossible. One gentleman shared how he stopped going to church, not because he lost his faith, but because he was terrified of falling in front of everyone when his legs gave out walking down the aisle. These are real people whose lives shrank smaller and smaller, not because they were sick, but because their leg muscles had weakened to the point where fear controlled every decision they made. But stay with me here, because this connects to your situation in a way most people don't realise. The food sitting in your kitchen right now, the meals you're eating every single day, they're either feeding your muscle strength or they're letting it slip away. And the difference between these two paths, between staying strong and independent or becoming fragile and dependent on others, often comes down to just 5 specific foods that most seniors aren't eating nearly enough of. Before we dive into these 5 powerful foods, do me a quick favour. Hit that like button if you're serious about protecting your mobility and staying independent, and drop your age in the comments below. I want to see how many of us are in this together, fighting to stay strong at every age. This creates a community of people who refuse to accept weakness as inevitable, and your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to see to take action today. Now let's talk about what's actually happening inside your legs, because understanding this changes everything. There's a medical term for what we're discussing. It's called sarcopenia, which is just a fancy way of saying age-related muscle loss. Think of it as your muscles slowly deflating, like a tyre with a tiny leak that you don't notice until one day you realise it's almost flat. After 30, and especially after 50, your body starts breaking down muscle faster than it builds it back up. This isn't your fault, it's biology, but here's the critical part. It's not unstoppable. What this really means is that every single day your body is making a choice about your muscles. It's deciding whether to maintain them, build them stronger, or let them waste away. And what determines that choice? The raw materials you give your body through the food you eat. When you don't provide enough of the right nutrients, especially protein and certain vitamins, your body has no choice but to let muscle disappear. It's like trying to maintain a house when you can't afford materials for repairs. Eventually things start falling apart. Many American seniors report noticing this muscle weakness first in their legs because these are the largest muscle groups in your body, and they're working constantly every time you stand, walk, or move. When they weaken, everything becomes harder. The tight, tired feeling in your thighs when you climb stairs, that's weakened muscles struggling to do what they used to do effortlessly. The unsteady, wobbly sensation when you stand up too quickly, that's muscle loss affecting your balance and stability. And that deep, aching fatigue in your legs by the end of the day, even when you haven't done much, that's your weakened muscles working overtime just to keep you upright. Here's what makes this especially important for people over 50. Doctors often see that once significant muscle loss occurs, the risk of falls skyrockets. And falls at our age aren't just embarrassing, they're life-threatening. Medical research has shown that seniors who fall and break a hip have dramatically reduced life expectancy. The combination of injury, surgery, immobility during recovery, and further muscle loss during that immobility creates a dangerous downward spiral. But as helpful as understanding the problem is, what really matters is knowing exactly how to fix it. Coming in at number 5, we have leafy green vegetables. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is just generic health advice, stay with me because what these greens do for your leg muscles is absolutely remarkable. Vegetables like spinach, kale, collard greens and Swiss chard are packed with something called nitrates. Now these aren't the artificial kind you might worry about. These are natural plant compounds that your body converts into nitric oxide. What this really means is that these greens literally improve blood flow to your muscles, delivering more oxygen and nutrients exactly where your legs need them most. Studies have found that older adults who eat just 1 to 2 cups of leafy greens daily show measurably better muscle function and leg strength compared to those who rarely eat these vegetables. Think of these greens as opening up the highways in your body, letting everything flow more efficiently to feed those leg muscles. One woman in her late 60s shared how she started adding a big handful of spinach to her morning eggs every day. She wasn't following some complicated diet plan, just this one simple change. After about 6 weeks, she noticed that her evening walks with her husband didn't leave her legs feeling like lead weights anymore. That exhausted, heavy feeling that used to hit her halfway through the walk just gradually faded away. And here's something else most people don't know. These leafy greens are also loaded with vitamin K and magnesium, both absolutely essential for muscle contractions. Every time your leg muscles contract to move you forward, to lift you up from sitting, to steady you when you lose balance, they need these minerals. Without enough of them, your muscles can't fire properly. It's like having a car with a weak battery. It might work sometimes, but it's unreliable exactly when you need it most. The fix here is simple but requires consistency. Aim for at least 1 serving of dark leafy greens every single day. That could be a salad with your lunch, spinach wilted into your soup or pasta, or kale blended into a morning smoothie. Don't overthink it, just get these greens into your body regularly. You won't see results overnight. Genuine muscle recovery takes 3 to 6 months of consistent nutrition, but the changes will be real and lasting when you stick with it. Now we're at number 4, and this is where things get really interesting. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines and trout. These fish contain omega-3 fatty acids, and medical research has shown these healthy fats do something absolutely crucial for aging muscles. They reduce inflammation. Now you might be thinking inflammation isn't a big deal, but understand this. Chronic inflammation in your muscles acts like rust on metal, slowly degrading and breaking down muscle tissue from the inside out. Omega-3s fight this degradation, helping preserve the muscle mass you still have while making it easier for your body to build new muscle when you exercise. European research has found that seniors who eat fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week maintain significantly more leg muscle mass over time compared to those who rarely eat these fish. We're talking about a measurable difference in muscle strength and walking speed. One man in his mid-70s told me he'd been struggling with painful stiff legs every morning when he first got out of bed. His doctor suggested adding salmon to his diet regularly instead of his usual chicken or beef every night. He was skeptical, thinking food couldn't possibly make that much difference, but he tried it anyway. Within 8 weeks, he noticed the morning stiffness had noticeably improved. He described it as his legs feeling more supple, more ready to move, instead of that rigid, painful sensation he'd grown accustomed to waking up with. Here's what doctors know but don't always emphasize. Omega-3s also improve something called muscle protein synthesis, which is just a fancy term for your body's ability to build and repair muscle. As we age, this natural process becomes less efficient, but omega-3s help restore some of that efficiency. Think of it as oiling a rusty machine. Suddenly it starts working smoothly again. So what do you need to do? Aim for eating fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week, about a 4 to 6 ounce portion each time. That's roughly the size of your palm. If you absolutely can't stand fish, and some people genuinely can't, Talk to your doctor about a high-quality omega-3 supplement, typically around 1,000 milligrams daily, but always check with your healthcare provider first because supplements can interact with certain medications. However, there's one more thing you absolutely need to know, and this might be the most surprising food on this list. Coming in at number 3 are eggs, specifically whole eggs with the yolk. For years, eggs got a bad reputation because of cholesterol concerns, but recent research has completely changed that understanding, especially for muscle health in seniors. Eggs contain the highest quality protein you can find in any food, meaning your body can use nearly all of that protein to build and repair muscle tissue. They also contain something called leucine, an amino acid that acts like a trigger for muscle growth. What this really means is that leucine signals your body to start the muscle building process, and eggs are packed with it. But as helpful as the protein is, the real magic happens in the yolk, which most people used to throw away. The yolk contains vitamin D, and here's where this connects to your leg weakness in a way that might shock you. Studies have found that up to 70% of American seniors are deficient in vitamin D, and this deficiency directly causes muscle weakness, particularly in the legs. Vitamin D isn't just important for bones like most people think. It's absolutely essential for muscle strength and function. Without enough of it, your muscles literally cannot contract with full power, no matter how much you try to strengthen them through exercise. Many people report that once they started eating whole eggs regularly, combined with getting their vitamin D levels checked and potentially supplementing if they were low, their leg strength improved dramatically. One woman shared that she'd been eating only egg whites for years, throwing away the yolks because she thought she was being healthy. Her doctor finally tested her vitamin D levels and found them severely low. She started eating whole eggs 2 to 3 times per week, and within 12 weeks noticed she could climb the stairs to her bedroom without stopping halfway up to catch her breath, like she'd been doing for the past 2 years. That simple change, eating the whole egg instead of just the whites, gave her body the vitamin D and complete protein it desperately needed. Here's the fix. Eat whole eggs 2 to 3 times per week at minimum. 1 or 2 eggs per serving is perfect for most people. Scrambled, poached, hard-boiled, however you enjoy them. And this is critical. Get your vitamin D levels checked by your doctor. If you're low, which most seniors are, you might need to supplement with vitamin D3, typically around 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily. But always follow your doctor's specific recommendations based on your blood test results. Now we're at number 2, and this is where things get even more powerful. Greek yogurt and other high-protein dairy products. Greek yogurt typically contains twice as much protein as regular yogurt, around 15 to 20 grams per cup, and this protein is incredibly easy for your body to digest and use. But here's what makes dairy special for leg muscle strength. It contains both fast-acting and slow-acting proteins, meaning your muscles get a steady supply of amino acids over several hours after eating it. Think of it as time-release muscle fuel, continuously feeding your legs the building blocks they need to stay strong. Research specifically looking at older adults found that those who consume dairy products daily, particularly high-protein options like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese or milk, maintain significantly more muscle mass and strength in their legs over time. We're talking about real measurable differences in walking speed, ability to rise from a chair, and overall mobility. Medical researchers believe this happens not just because of the protein, but also because dairy provides calcium, which is essential for muscle contractions. Every single time your leg muscle contracts to move you, it needs calcium to make that contraction happen powerfully and reliably. I've talked to seniors who started having a cup of Greek yogurt with berries and a drizzle of honey every morning for breakfast. One gentleman told me he'd been skipping breakfast for years, just having coffee, and by mid-morning his energy was shot and his legs felt weak and shaky. Once he started eating Greek yogurt every morning, he noticed within 3 weeks that his morning walks became easier and he felt steadier on his feet throughout the entire day. He wasn't hungry, he wasn't shaky, and his legs felt solid and reliable again. That's the power of consistent protein intake starting early in the day. Here's what you need to understand about protein timing. Studies have shown that spreading your protein intake evenly throughout the day, rather than eating most of it at dinner, like many older adults do, significantly improves muscle maintenance. Your muscles need that steady supply, not a huge amount once daily. So what do you need to do? Aim for about 20 to 30 grams of protein with each main meal. A cup of Greek yogurt gets you close to 20 grams right there. Add it to breakfast, have cottage cheese with your lunch, drink a glass of milk with dinner. Just make sure you're getting high quality protein consistently throughout your day. But here's what makes this especially important for people over 50, and this might honestly shock you when you hear the real numbers. Most American seniors are eating nowhere near enough protein. Doctors often see elderly patients consuming maybe 40 to 50 grams of protein daily when they actually need 70 to 90 grams or more, depending on their body weight. That massive gap between what they're eating and what their muscles need is one of the primary reasons leg weakness is so common among seniors. Your body can't build or even maintain muscle with insufficient raw materials, no matter how much you want it to. This is it. This is the big one. We've arrived at the most powerful food for protecting and rebuilding your leg strength after 50. Number 1 is lean meat and poultry, specifically chicken, turkey, and lean cuts of beef. Now I know what you're thinking. You might have heard that eating too much meat isn't healthy, and there's some truth to that with fatty, processed meats. But lean meat and poultry are in a completely different category when it comes to muscle health, and this is the key that unlocks everything else we've talked about. These lean meats contain the most complete and concentrated source of protein available, along with massive amounts of leucine, that muscle-building trigger we talked about earlier. But even more importantly, they contain something plant proteins and even dairy proteins can't match at the same levels: creatine. Your body makes some creatine on its own, but as you age, that natural production decreases significantly. Creatine is absolutely essential for muscle energy and strength. Think of it as the fuel that lets your muscles fire at full power, especially during movements that require quick, strong contractions like standing up from a chair, catching yourself from falling, or climbing stairs. Medical research looking specifically at elderly adults found that those who consumed lean meat 4 to 5 times per week had dramatically better leg strength, faster walking speeds, and significantly lower fall risk compared to those who ate very little meat. The difference wasn't small, it was substantial and life-changing in terms of maintaining independence. Studies have found that adequate meat consumption combined with simple resistance exercises can actually reverse sarcopenia, building back muscle that was previously lost. This isn't about getting bulky like a bodybuilder, it's about restoring the functional strength that lets you live your life fully. One woman in her early 70s shared her story with me. She'd become increasingly vegetarian over the years, not for any strong ethical reason, but just because preparing meat felt like more work, and she lived alone. Gradually, over about 3 years, she noticed her legs getting weaker and weaker. Grocery shopping became exhausting. Carrying bags from the car to her kitchen, even light bags, left her legs trembling. Her adult daughter finally convinced her to see a doctor, who tested her and found severe protein deficiency and very low muscle mass. The doctor strongly recommended she add lean meat back into her diet regularly, along with the other high-protein foods we've discussed. She started eating grilled chicken with her dinner 4 nights a week, along with Greek yogurt for breakfast and eggs twice a week. She told me the change wasn't instant, and anyone promising overnight results is lying to you. But after about 4 months of consistent protein intake and some simple leg strengthening exercises her physical therapist taught her, she felt like a different person. The grocery bags that used to make her legs shake didn't bother her anymore. She started walking her neighborhood again, something she'd stopped doing because she was afraid her legs would give out. That fear, that constant worry about falling, about being weak, it gradually faded as her strength returned. And it all started with the simple decision to properly feed her muscles, the protein they desperately needed. Here's the fix, and this is the foundation everything else builds on. Eat a palm-sized portion of lean meat or poultry, that's about 3 to 4 ounces, at least 4 to 5 times per week. Grilled chicken breast, turkey, lean beef, even lean pork works. Prepare it simply, season it however you enjoy, but get that high-quality, complete protein into your body consistently. If you combine this with the other 4 foods we've discussed, leafy greens daily, fatty fish 2 to 3 times weekly, whole eggs 2 to 3 times weekly, and high-protein dairy daily, you're giving your leg muscles absolutely everything they need to stop weakening and start rebuilding. Now I know this might feel overwhelming, thinking about changing what you eat and making sure you get all these different foods throughout your week. So let me break down a simple approach that makes this manageable, not overwhelming. Start with just one change. Don't try to overhaul your entire diet overnight, because that rarely works long term. Pick the food from this list that feels easiest to add. Maybe that's having Greek yogurt for breakfast starting tomorrow, or adding spinach to your eggs, or grilling chicken for dinner a few nights this week. Master that one change, make it a habit over 2 to 3 weeks, then add another food. This step-by-step approach works because you're building sustainable habits, not trying to follow some complicated diet that you'll abandon after 2 weeks. Remember, genuine muscle recovery and strength building takes time. You need 3 to 6 months of consistent proper nutrition combined with gentle movement and activity to see significant lasting results. But those results will be real. Your legs will feel stronger, more stable, more reliable. That fear of falling, of being weak, of losing your independence, it starts to fade as your physical strength returns. And here's something critical that doctors know but don't always explain clearly. You can't out-supplement poor nutrition. Taking a multivitamin won't fix this if you're not eating enough protein and the right foods. Pills and powders have their place, especially for things like vitamin D, where many people are deficient, but there's no substitute for real whole food when it comes to building muscle. Your body needs the complete package that foods provide, not just isolated nutrients. So where do you start right now? First, take an honest look at what you're currently eating. Are you getting protein with every meal? Are you eating any of the 5 foods we've discussed regularly? If not, that's okay, there's no shame in that, but it means you now know exactly why your legs might be weakening and exactly what to do about it. Second, pick one single food from this list and commit to adding it starting this week. Write it down, tell someone about it, make it real and specific, not just a vague intention. Third, talk to your doctor about getting your vitamin D levels checked and ask about whether you should be concerned about sarcopenia given your current strength and mobility. Most doctors will be thrilled that you're taking this seriously and asking informed questions. They can help you create a plan that considers your specific health situation, any medications you're taking, and your individual needs. You deserve to feel confident at every age. You deserve to walk without fear, climb stairs without exhaustion, stand up without wobbling, and live your life fully without constantly worrying about whether your legs will support you. Don't let anyone tell you that weakness is just something you have to accept as you get older. It's not. Muscle loss is common, but it's not inevitable, and it's definitely not irreversible. Your legs weaken first, but they can also strengthen first when you give them what they need. These 5 foods, leafy green vegetables, fatty fish, whole eggs, high-protein dairy, and lean meat and poultry, aren't magic, but they are powerful. They provide exactly what your leg muscles desperately need to stop deteriorating and start rebuilding. Combined with staying active, even just walking regularly and doing some simple leg exercises, these foods can genuinely transform your strength and independence over the coming months. If you found this valuable, hit that like button so other people who need this information can find it. Share this with anyone in your life who's struggling with weak legs or worrying about their mobility. And subscribe for more content about staying strong, healthy and independent at every age. Your best years aren't behind you, they're still ahead, and protecting your leg strength is one of the most important things you can do to make sure you're able to fully live them. Take care of those legs, feed them properly, and they'll take care of you for many years to come.